One of the best things about BookTube is hearing about all the other booktubers and all the great books they're reading. And I am loving my BookTuber Made Me Read It series. Every time I make a new video, I think it's going to be my last one. And then a BookTuber recommends something that I just have to get on here and talk about. So this video is all about Krista from BooksAndJams, a book she recommended. And so this one's for you, Krista. Krista made me read it. Oh no, you are not the one for me. Like 10 minutes ago, just finished. Hello everyone, and welcome to Book Talks with Miss Thomas. That would be me. I'm Miss Thomas. If you are returning, welcome back. And if you are new to my channel and you like to hear about books and, Christian books, Philippians 4 books, or even books that aren't Philippians 4 Christian books, I cover all kinds of books. In this case, I'm covering a book that Krista on BooksAndJams recommended. It is a young adult book, maybe even a middle grade book. I would not consider it necessarily a Christian book. It's not a book that I would have sought out for my Philippians 4 project, but it is definitely going on the Philippians 4 list because it is a lovely book for the young adult and even younger reader or the older reader like me. And that would be, are you ready? That would be Rain, Rain by, the author's name is Anne M. Martin. Sometimes I forget to give credit to the author. Authors matter. Without them, we wouldn't have good books. This one was really, really fantastic. I just finished this book, within the hour, and I had to get on here and talk about it. So this is a very impromptu, unplanned video. And I was thinking, how can I dedicate a whole video to such a short book? And I guess it's okay to make really short and sweet videos. But this one, I thought, well, I want to say Krista made me read it, and I'll just continue that series. So if you haven't checked out Krista's channel, where have you been? But Krista at BooksAndJams is a fantastic booktuber. I'll leave her down below in the description box. And she has a great booktube channel. The reason that I was initially drawn to her was because she had a middle grade March, and in March, she talked about middle grade books that appeal to younger people, younger readers, and that's where my heart is. I want younger people to enjoy books and, have fun, engaging books. There's nothing wrong with social media. Here I am with a YouTube channel, but I do tease my middle school son about how some of the stuff he watches on YouTube, I'm like, can't you just go get a good book? Or I'll say to him, oh gosh, that person, everybody wants to watch that on YouTube, but they don't want to hear somebody talk about a book. Like, don't get me started on the pimple popper. I don't get it. Anyway, Krista at BooksAndJams recommended this book, Rain, Rain, and I loved it. And I love Krista's channel. So Rain, Rain is the story of a little girl named Rose. She's in elementary school, but like I say, I'm 50 and I loved it. She's in elementary school and her mother's gone. We don't really know why. We think her mother walked out on her. And so she's raised by her father, and her uncle lives nearby. Now, her father is what I would call a hard man. He's not an evil man. He's not even a cruel man. I actually cried for him at some points in this book. But he was a hard man. He was a hard man to understand. I would imagine he would be a very hard man to deal with. And he's raising this little girl with high functioning autism. She says that she has high functioning autism, which is called Asperger's, is what she says in the book. And she loves prime numbers, structure, and homonyms. She talks about homophones and homonyms. And, I'm a reading person, an English person, so I loved that about it. I really enjoyed, reading about homonyms. So that appealed to me in and of itself. But the story of Rose was just so delightful. and so sweet and so emotional. I laughed out loud, I cried. It just took me through a lot of different emotions. Rose lives with her father. He doesn't understand her, let's say that. And she's telling the story from her point of view, from, an elementary school girl's point of view with Asperger's. And she talks about, for example, the day she gets kicked off the school bus. She's not allowed to ride the school bus anymore because she's very preoccupied with rules. And so every time a driver doesn't use their turn signal or comes to a rolling stop instead of a complete stop, she points it out to the bus driver, and the kids laugh at her and they call her unkind thing, which I will not repeat. It's not a vulgar, well, it is a vulgar word. It's not, a 4-letter word. It's not a typical cuss word, but it's a word that it makes me cringe. But I will still put it on the Philippians 4 list because it's used from her point of view, and that, they say this to me, and, she almost looks down on them because they're so, many of them are so narrow in their view of her, and she's highly intelligent and highly sensitive. And her father, he's short-tempered. He comes across as sort of a burly man and, doesn't like to explain himself kind of dad. But I think he does have a heart. And one day in particular, he brings home a dog from a rainstorm. He's out in the rain and he brings home this dog. And so she names the dog Rain Rain because it's a homonym and because the dog was found in a rainstorm. And she gets very attached to this dog. So it's almost like an Old Yeller story. It's the story of Rose and her dog and how she loves her dog. And then sometimes she talks about school. At one point, one of my favorite passages, the dog follows her. Her uncle gives her a ride to school, and the dog hops off of the truck and follows her into school. And all the children think the dog is so wonderful. And, oh, can I pet your dog? And so she has that moment of fame, and her students, the other students are talking to her and they appreciate her. And she even makes a true friend out of that class. And I loved that. I love the depictions of the classroom and the school, specifically when the children were kind. And I say children because it's elementary school. And it was just a very lovely, heartwarming book. And then there's a hurricane that blows through the town, and she's really worried about this hurricane. And, she's afraid at night, and so her dog comforts her. And then I don't want to give away any other things except to say that Rose has this wonderful relationship with her dog. Her dad is kind of a difficult man. He's not a bad man, I would argue he's not a bad man. But he's a difficult man. He's a hard man. And then the uncle, she has this uncle who seems to get her, and he helps her to write lists of homonyms, and he drives her to and from school, and he kind of indulges her, and the dad resents that at times. But she has a really special relationship with her uncle, and I loved that very much too. So I finished this book today, and I mean, it was just so lovely, and I was crying. They were tears of joy, but it was also sad, but it was also so beautiful, and I just really love it. And I want to thank you, Krista, for recommending Rain Rain. It is a book for anyone of any age, and I highly recommend it. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.